Hello, here we are with our self-portrait again. We are going to draw a nose today, our favorite thing, our nose in this video. I want to remind you, please just go ahead and trust me with my instructions today. There's other ways of drawing noses, but I think this will be very helpful. Also, please don't go ahead. Just draw the nose for now, and then we'll move on and talk about drawing the rest of the face. I want to ask you also, if you're not done with the eyes, just take the time to finish them, please. Your eyes should look like they belong to the same person. I have like two different people here with my eyes, right? So hopefully your eyes will be, you know, almost the same or the same. Most people aren't 100% symmetrical. Anyway, so for my nose drawing, let me get the paper a little closer and let's get started. A couple of things about the nose. People aren't really into noses. So, like, when's the last time you said, ooh, he has a nice nose? You know, so, Mrs. Rouse, stop it. So, we just need to get close. We need to get something realistic and we need to get close. What we're not going to draw is a nose that looks like this. You know, what is that? We don't have an L on our face, and that's a nose. So we're going to have to draw something more realistic than that. The length of your nose, it's a little bit longer typically than you want to make it, is about halfway down from your eyes to your chin. So I'm just going to make a mark here. I'm guessing. Then I'm going to see, it looks like I got too close to the eyes. So if I go here, here, and it's about half that distance longer. So my halfway marks here. You can get a ruler to measure that or some other means, but we need to get that halfway down. Now, the reason why, okay, we're pretty good. When doing this, I know, yes, I do know noses are longer and shorter and so on, different sizes. But what we're talking about is where your nose attaches to the face. It's just about halfway down. Some noses are kind of tipped up and look a little shorter. Some noses are tipped down and look a little longer. But we've got this halfway down measurement, and it's really just about right. So please trust me on this, halfway down. The next thing we have is basically the space between your eyes. That's about how wide your nose is. I'm looking in the mirror, the bottom of your nose where it's its widest. I'm looking in the mirror right now, and that's about how wide my nose is. Now, if you have a wider nose, especially a boy, this is one of the proportions that's more, can be more masculine, is nose size. Brother standing next to sister, brother's nose is often larger, wider especially. And so depending on your family, that, you know, sometimes there's a change in noses, brother to sister. Anyway, so it could be a little bit wider. It's not going to be a lot wider, maybe a quarter of an inch. That would be a nose that's a lot wider. So don't let it get too much wider than that. Also, they have another measurement. If you swing a pendulum, your eyebrow is supposed to be as long as your nose, so we can make a half circle here. I don't know why that's helpful, but that's part of the instructions. Okay. The first thing we're going to do, if you look in the mirror, remember to pick up your chin when you're drawing your nose. If you're looking down at the mirror, you're going to get a long looking nose. We want the nose that's really there on your face. So look right at the mirror. What we're going to do is, I'm putting my mirror up on an eraser so it's easier to work, is we're going to look at the ball at the tip of your nose. Where is that located? We have another general nose we're going to try and not draw. Let me see. Let's talk about a couple of generalizations. We're also going to try and not draw that thing that sometimes people draw. That's not quite what a real nose looks like. There's a couple of things we don't want to draw, but let's start with this one. So there's a ball at the tip of your nose. If you have a long looking nose, then the ball at the tip of your nose is down here, and that would hang down, give you kind of a nose that looks maybe a little bit like that. Okay, so you know, what does my nose look like? You know, you're going to look at what does your nose look like. So find the ball at the tip of your nose. That's I have a more kind of average nose. So I'm going to put the ball at the tip of my nose right here. And about how big is it? By the way, noses get larger as you get older. Sorry about that, that's true. So this is going to be a reference for the drawing. Remember, this line is where your nose attaches to your face. So a long tip of your nose will be down here, maybe overlapping that, but typically this ball at the tip of your nose is up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move mine down just a little bit. Okay, where's this kind of circle near the end of your nose? The next thing we're going to go looking for is our nostrils. Now, we don't have nostrils that are like this, circles. We don't have a pig nose, right? So we're going to look for them to be kind of a different type of a shape. Maybe the shape of two watermelon seeds. Maybe that's the shape of your nostrils. So take a good look at the shape of the opening to your nose. Pretty much everybody you know, when you're talking to them, you can look up their noses. Unfortunate, but true fact. So we're going to be drawing nostrils for anybody. The thing is, nobody cares, so they're not too worried about looking up your nose. So I'm looking at my nostrils, and they go something like this. There's different shapes. So my nostril shape, actually both sides are not quite doing the same thing. That's okay. If you see it not quite the same thing, this is kind of what's happening with my nostril shapes. So what are these two shapes right here? It's not going to be a circle, might be something like that. Mine stand up a little bit more. I can go ahead and shade them in a little bit. Look, there's a fade, color in the fade. This is already starting to look like a nose. So what's the shape of the opening right there? We have the tip of the nose. We're going to not leave it as a circle, right? But we know it's right about there. Then we're going to look at the outside of the nostrils. You know, what is that shape? It often starts up here, and it sometimes kind of fades out here. Some people, it goes all the way around and under. You know, I've seen noses that do that. That would be okay. Whatever that shape is around the outside of your nostril. So find that shape over here. What's the shape on the outside of the nostril? So we just did three things, and it's already starting to look a lot like a nose. The ball at the tip of the nose, the shape of the two openings down here, we found it halfway down. It's about as wide as the shape between the eyes, and we found a line here. Okay, this is what you never do. Do not draw two big dark lines going down your face. Look in the mirror. Do you see two black lines going down your face? No, you don't. So especially the front view, you don't see those lines. So we're not going to draw things that we don't even see. If you turn to the side, a face looking another direction, you know, or even a little bit to the side, you're going to see a line. But you don't, looking straight out of face, you don't see two lines there. So we're going to leave that out. What we have left is a little bit of shading on the nose, and that's going to be what helps make it look more realistic. So this ball at the tip of my nose, I'm going to leave it there as a reference, but I'm going to erase. You don't have a line. Some people might, but you don't have that much of a line up there. Now I'm going to start looking for shading. So I have a shadow here on my nose. Not everybody has that shadow, but I do. Try not to make a big black line, and let this have soft edges. It's not going to end in a line somewhere. So do you have a shadow line here? I have shading here all the way across the end of my nose at the bottom. And the shading might come out. Remember how we shaded a circle? You might have actually some shading right on the ball at the tip of your nose. So I had shading across the bottom of my nose. And I have some shading at the side of my nose here. It's a little bit more right here. And then I have, since I'm older, I have a shadow. You don't have the shadow right here. I don't think you'll have that shadow, but I do because I'm older. So where's my shading around my nose? A lot of your nose, once we have the ball, the two nostrils, the sides of the nostrils, the rest of it's just some shading. Typical places to look for shading are here inside your eyes, both above your eyes and below. If your nose doesn't come out from your face that far, then you won't have very much shading there. So it just indicates how far out from your face your nose comes. Down here at the bottom of your nose, is, you know, you may not have that. A lot of people do. Down here at the bottom of your nose, look for your shading here. If this isn't really a line, some people, there's kind of a line. If it's not a line, we're going to start fading it out. And if it, like I said, if you have a lot of shading down here, add the shading underneath. You might even have a little bit of reflected light. I'm trying to show that by darkening some of them. And then you just go in and find, which is trying to be not, you know, objective about this, not worrying too much, and I'm drawing my nose. And that's how you get a fairly realistic looking nose. Also, by the way, I have a shading, a shadow under my nose. And we're going to be putting the mouth in a little bit. But try not, be careful how you put this in. See, I'm using a little bit of a crosshatch. It's starting to look like a mustache. So as you put in the shadow under your nose, just be kind of careful that you don't have too many lines showing. But there is obviously going to be a shadow underneath it. So that's it for the nose. Not too scary. I hope you enjoyed your nose drawing. You have to draw those nostrils, right? Ball of your nose, lower part of your nose, and then some shading. And that's how we get a pretty realistic looking nose. Okay, enjoy this one.